Welcome to A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. In today's episode, I'm back in the crime series of serial killers. This episode is going to be different, a little bit shorter, but I'm going to be talking about two different serial killers. Just because there wasn't much information I could find on these two, so I combined them into one episode. We are talking about Howard Allen and Quincy Allen. No relation that I know of. But before we get into today's episode, let's hear from our sponsor, W Energy. Need hydration or energy for gaming, going to the gym, or even trying to just wake up? Check out W Energy at dubby.gg/discount/CRN10 and use promo code CRN10 to get 10% off your order today. Check out flavors such as Peach and Beach, Calio Cream, Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, and many, many more. That's dubby.gg/discount/CRN10. This is A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. Howard Arthur Allen, born February 10, 1949, died June 5, 2020, was an American serial killer from Indianapolis, Indiana. He murdered 3 elderly people and also committed assault and burglary and arson. Allen was one of 8 children who were raised by an impoverished single mother. He sometimes stole food for their family. Single mother, I feel like the dad part of this probably led to it. But anyways, Allen, and also stealing food for the family. Allen was enrolled in special education classes for mentally disabled children. That's probably part of it, and was still reading at a 2nd grade level when he left elementary school. That's also probably part of it. A special education director said Allen had difficulty processing language as a child, that his thinking and decision making would be very concrete, and that he could have difficulty understanding the consequences of his conduct and could be easily led. Makes a lot of sense just from that short couple sentences, the paragraph, whatever, that I just read, which brought him up to this upbringing of murder and whatever. Could it lead to it? The combination could, but we also don't know anything else from the history from that. But there were disputes over whether Allen was mentally disabled, since he scored 104 on an IQ test, and his mother called him an average student. None of Allen's family's members described him as anything other than of normal intelligence, nor did any of 18 people who submitted letters on his behalf before sentencing. So that right there. The fact that he was enrolled in the special education classes could have fucked with his head in the mental for mental disabled children. That could have messed with him, and the fact that his IQ was 104. So he probably, or it could be just signs of just bad learning from that side. But that could just be one person's take, or whoever fucking decided to put him in the special ed classes. That could be all from that. But who knows? In August 1974, Allen beat up 85-year-old Opal Cooper during a burglary. He was sentenced to 2 to 21 years, what a fucking range, in prison for voluntary manslaughter, winning parole in 1985. June 11, 1988, Allen was sentenced to death for the murder of Ernestine Griffin. What a name. He received a concurrent 50-year sentence for robbery with serious bodily injury and consecutive 38-year sentence for theft. On August 30, 1988, he was placed on death row, where he spent the next 25 years awaiting a ruling by a U.S. District Court on a petition for a writ of habeas corpus. After years of unsuccessful attempts to prove that he was mentally disabled and thus ineligible for execution, one of Allen's appeals was successful. He was sentenced to 60 years in prison for the murder. The Indiana Department of Correction had listed his release date as April 23, 2035. Allen was in prison at the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. So there wasn't much information of the crimes or any of that other stuff from the stuff I could find, so this is why this can be a shorter episode. But anyways, Allen died June 5th, 2020 at the age of 71. His death was confirmed by the Indiana Department of Correction. Alright, now we're going to jump to Quincy Jovan Allen. Quincy Jovan Allen, born November 7th, 1979, is an American serial killer who killed 4 people between July and August in a crime spree in 2002. He was sentenced to death for his crimes in South Carolina, but his sentence was commuted in 2024, so this fucker still there. or still around, whatever. Allen was inspired to begin his crime spree during his time in federal prison for stealing a vehicle. Okay, that's one way to do it. While incarcerated, a fellow inmate told him that he could get him a job as a mafia hitman. When he was released, Allen decided to pick out his shotgun and begin practicing for his promised career. Timeline events. July 7, 2002, Allen, in order to practice using his shotgun, decided to attack 51-year-old homeless man James White at a bench in Finley Park in Columbia, South Carolina. The sleeping White was shot twice but survived the attack. July 10, 2002, Allen killed 45-year-old Dale I don't know how to pronounce that, Hall, near Columbia I-77 stop, using his sawn-off shotgun. Hall was shot in the head, face, leg, and stomach area. Allen then drove to a nearby truck stop, bought a can of gasoline, and returned to the body, dousing it and then subsequently burning it. August 8, 2002, after a confrontation with Texas Roadhouse employee Brian Marquis, I don't know how to pronounce that, Allen fatally shot 22-year-old Jed Har, a friend of Marcus, who tried to intervene. Soon after the scuffle, he chased after Marcus to his house, setting the porch on fire. This is a span of like 2 seconds. Oh, it's all for like the same thing. August 9th, 2002, Allen set fire to the car of another Texas Roadhouse employee before randomly selecting and subsequently burning another a few minutes later. August 12th, 2002, while robbing a Citgo gasoline station in Dobson, North Carolina, Allen fatally shot 53-year-old Richard Calvin Hawks from Low Gap, North Carolina, and 29-year-old Robert Shane Roosh from Lancaster, Ohio. August 4th, 2002, Allen was arrested while sleeping in an abandoned car in Mitchell County, Texas. On the morning of December 2nd, 2009, Allen, along with fellow death row inmate Bakul Dean Mahadi, born March 20, 1983, planned to attack and kill a correctional officer while in the Lever Correctional Institution. After making shivs using metal they stripped from air ducts, the duo asked the correctional officer Nathan Sasser if they could go visit the basketball court. After escorting them there, they attacked Sasser, stabbing him multiple times. He managed to resist and fought them off despite his heavy injuries. Allen and Mahadi then attempted to jump the fence, but after they were unable to escape, they began tearing up the common area. Even after the guards used tear gas on them, they still refused to back down. Eventually, rubber bullets were used to subdue the pair. Following this incident, both were stripped of their privileges, outside recreation, visitation, phone use, and canteen items, and in 2017, both were transferred along with all the other South Carolina death row inmates to the Kirkland Correctional Institution in Columbia. Sasser was later let go from his post as he had developed PTSD and had begun suffering from anxiety attacks. All assaults charges were later dropped by the prosecutors, who said that there was no point as both prisoners were already sentenced to death. That makes sense. After pleading guilty to the killings, Allen was sentenced to death and scheduled to be executed on January 2010. However, a stay of execution was filed by his attorneys hours after the verdict was announced, with the South Carolina Supreme Court accepting the motion. A new date was not announced, and Allen's death sentence was overturned by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals on July 26, 2022. July 23rd, 2024, so a couple months ago, Allen accepted a plea deal in which his sentence would be reduced to life imprisonment in exchange for him waiving all rights to appeal the sentence. So this is most recent ruling, obviously, since it was literally last month. Not a couple months ago, as of this recording. And it just shows how much stuff they changed. But also the life imprisonment in this sentence, there's not much places that have the death sentence anymore, so life imprisonment makes sense as well. And don't know if you can qualify for parole after that, but who knows. Thank you for turning in on this short episode of Two Serial Killers this time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell and select all on YouTube to stay up to date for when the new episodes air. Hit that follow button on all other major podcast platforms to stay up to date as well. Make sure you check out W Energy to get 10% off your order today using promo code CRN10 at w.gg/discount/CRN10. That's DUBBY.gg/discount/CRN10. Peace and bacon grease, guys.